Hello everyone, we are going to discuss chapter first of class 8's science NCERT book. So chapter first is about the crop production and the management. So the first of all, the what is the crop? So when the plant of the same kind are grown and cultivated at one place on a large scale by the farmer, it is called the crop. So the two friends, the Paheli and the Bujo, went to their uncle's house, and they saw that their uncle is a farmer, and they saw some of the tools in his house, which are the sickle, shovel, and plug. So this is a khurpi. This is a typical sickle which is used for cutting the crops at the time of the harvesting, and this is a shovel, and this is most important, the wooden plug. So now coming towards the type of the crops, there are basically the two types of the crops. There is Kharif crop and the Rabi crop. The Kharif crop is grown during the rainy seasons from the month of June to September, and the crops which are grown are, this is paddy, which is also called rice, this is maize or makka, this is soya bean, and this is groundnut or badam. And the Rabi crops which are grown during the winter seasons for the month of October to March, and the crops which are grown are, this is wheat, this is chana or gram, and this is pea, and this is oil plant mustard. So typically all the oil plants are grown during the Rabi crops because they require less water. So the steps which are followed by the farmers to grow the crops are, the first of all, the preparation of the soil, the sowing of the seeds, the adding the manures and the fertilizers to the field, and the irrigations of the field, the protections from the weeds and pests, and the harvesting, and at last the storage. Now coming towards the most important, the preparation of the soil. During this preparation of the soils, the upper layer which supports the plant growth are loosened to help the growth of the earthworm and the microbes which are present in the soils. So these organisms replenish the fertility and the humus to the soils, which provides the good growth to our crops. So since only the few centimeters of the top layer of the soils supports the plant growth, so the turning and loosening of those upper layer of the soil is most important, and this is done by the typical equipment called the plug or tiller. So the process of loosening and turning the soil is called the tilling or plugging. So tiller, if we use the machineries, and the plug if we use this is the typical plug. So this is the typical plug, in which there is a wooden part, there is a wooden shaft, there is a wooden beam, and the most important, the iron parts is embedded here is the lower part of the plug, which supports the tilling of the land. And this is a typical tiller which is operated by the tractors, and after the tilling, the leveling of the land is done so that it can support the irrigations and the sowing works. So the equipment which are used for this tilling purpose is, the first of all, this wooden plug which we have discussed, and the hoe. The hoe is a simple tool which is used for removing the weeds and loosening of the soil. It has a long wooden rod or iron rod. As we see that this is a hoe which may be of the iron or wooden, and here there is a iron part which helps for the tilling or for tilling the land. So basically in these times all the tillers and hoe are run by the tractors. Okay, now the second operations is the sowing operations. So the sowing operations, here the seeds are planted to the farmland with the help of the equipment, such like there is a seed funnel, there is a seed drill. So the traditional tools, we use the seed funnels which is attached to the back part of the plug, and the seeds are drawn here, and then with this help of the pipe it goes to the land or ground. And in this typical seed drill, this is operated by the tractors. There is a tiller and in the above part of this seed drill we put these seeds, and with this help of the pipe they goes to the ground. And now coming, this is a typical seed drills which is run by the tractors. And now coming to the third importance, the manure and the fertilizers. What is different between the manure and fertilizers? Basically the manure is an organic thing while the fertilizer is a chemical thing. So the substance which are added to the soil in the form of nutrients or the for the healthy growth of the plants is called the manures and the fertilizers. The manures in organic term and the fertilizer in the chemical terms. So basically we see this is a fertilizers. This is a farmer giving the urea to his rice paddy plants. This is a typical urea. IFCO company made this urea, and this is a typical organic verming compost, the organic manure which is prepared by the farmer itself in his house with the help of the organic plants and material. So the soil supplies the minerals and the nutrients to the crop, and these nutrients are essential for the growth of the crop. So keep in mind this point. And now, why do we use the manures or fertilizers, or why do we add this manure and fertilizers to the soil or land? This is most important. This is reasons of adding the fertilizer and the manures, because due to the continuous growth of the crops makes the soil poorer in a certain nutrients. So therefore the farmer use this manures and the fertilizers to replenish the soil with the nutrients. So this is the process of the fertilizing and manuring. So the organic fertilizers are called manures, which are prepared by the organic substance which are obtained from the decomposition of the plants and animal waste. So the farmers dump the plants and animal waste in their pits or this type of the equipment, and this also put some of the microbes such like the earthworm and other lichens, which promotes the decompositions of these plants and animal materials. And after a certain period of time, 6 months or 8 months, this vermicompost is prepared and then dumped in the farm by the farmers. Now the important, the difference between the fertilizers and the manure. The fertilizer, first point, it is an inorganic salt, means it is a chemical substance, and the manure, it is a natural substance obtained from the decompositions or of the cattle dung and the human waste and the plant residues. So that's why it's called the organic things. The fertilizer is prepared by the factories, such like the IFCO company prepared the urea, and the manure is prepared by the farmer in his field itself by using the plants and animal excreta. While the fertilizers does not provide any humus to the soil because it is a chemical substance, while the manure, it made up of the organic things, so it provides the humus to the soil. While the fertilizers are very rich in the nutrients like nitrogen and the chemical, the phosphorus, the potassiums, while the manure is relatively less rich in the plant nutrients, but it is more preferred to use the organic manure. So the advantage of the manure, as the Indian government has also promotes the manure types of the farming rather than the use for the fertilizers, because of the disadvantages, because it enhances the water holding capacities of the soil. It makes the soil porous, due to which the exchange of the gases becomes easy, and it also increases the number of the friendly microbes and also improves the texture of the soil. This texture of the soil means it also helps to improve the water holding capacity of the soils, helps to prevent the soil erosions type of the activities. And the fourth important thing is the irrigation facilities. So what is irrigations? Means the supply of water to the crops at the different level is called the irrigation. So why do we need irrigations? Because the plants need the water. The plants absorb the water from their roots, and along with the waters, the minerals and the fertilizers also are absorbed. While the plant contains 90% of the water, please note that. Because the water is essential for the germinations of the seed after the sowing, Without the humus, the seeds cannot grow in the dry conditions, so they need a humus to grow. Now the sources of irrigations which we are using is the wells, the tube wells, ponds, lakes and the canal. Now the typical traditional method which an old farmer or the farmers use is the mode systems, the chain pump systems, the Dekli systems and the Rehat systems. The Rehat is most important and most frequently asked in the paper, so keep in mind and see this video to elaborate the Rehat. So now coming towards the modern method which farmer are using now, and also it has reduced the water waste. So these are the sprinkler system. This is a sprinkler systems and the drip irrigation systems. So first of all, we will cover the drip irrigation systems. In these systems, the water falls drop by drop at just the plant, because this is a pipe, and at every plant positions there is a hole done in the pipe. So a drop water is dropped at the roots of the plant, so that it minimizes the waste of the water. So basically the drip irrigations we use in the watering the fruit plants, the gardens, the trees. And now coming towards the sprinkler systems, this is more important even during the uneven land, because in the hilly areas we do not water the plant by the canals or by the drip irrigation system. We can use sprinkler because it pressurizes the waters and evenly distribute the water in everywhere in the land with the help of the nozzles and the pipes which are rotating at an interval. See this. Now coming towards the fifth important points, the weeds, the protections from the weeds and the pests. So what are the weeds? The weeds are the undesirable plants which grow naturally along the crops, and these are undesirable plants which grow with the along the our crops. So the removal of the weeds is called the weeding. This is a process of the removal of the weeds, and we remove these weeds with the help of the chemicals called weedicides. So the farmer adopts many ways to remove these weeds and control the growth, such like the tilling before sowing of the crops helps in uprooting and killing the weeds, which may then dry up and get mixed with the soil. So the weeds are also controlled by using the certain chemical, the weedicides, which are sprayed in the field by these farmers. These farmers are spraying the weedicide in the field with the help of these pressure pumps. And so another thing is that this is also called, there is also the pests, which are the organic microbes, which are the bacteria, viruses or smuts, which can affect our plants growth. So they are also removed with the help of the pests or the pesticides, and the process of removing those pests are called the pesticiding. Okay, this. And now coming towards the harvesting, the second last point, the harvesting of the crops is important task, because the cutting of the crops it is after the mature. This is done with the help of the sickle. This is the typical farmer is harvesting the crops with the help of the sickle. See, this is a sickle machinery for the harvesting, or we can also use the large harvesters for the harvestings. So that there is a process called the threshing. So now coming towards this, the in the harvested crops, the grain or the seeds are separated from the chaff, and this process is called the threshing. So this is our typical large harvesters which can do the harvesting and the threshing combinedly in this one machine itself. While in the typical farmers, they generally cut the crops with the help of the sickle, take it to the homes, and then with the help of the small threshers and winnowing machines, they separate the crops from the chaff. So there is a typical winnowing machine is there. This is winnowing machine. There is a fan, and this air is blown out from their mouth, and at the mouth there is a farmers blowing their crops, so that the lighter and the parts get separated from the heavier ones. So see this for the more. So there is a fan, you can see, and they are winnowing the crops, and the lighter particle gets separated from the heavier ones. Now coming towards the storage, the storage, we see there is a diagram of the FCI, the Food Corporation of India godown. So the crops are taken by the government from the farmers and stored in these silos with the help of some of the preservatives, so that they can be supplied to the other markets or to the PDS systems, to give the to the other needy persons. So this is a storage godown for the granaries. So for the large scale storage of this granary, we use the equipment called the silos and the granaries. These are the silos which protects the crops from the other types of the pest and other water things. Now coming to the questions. So the selects the correct words from the following list. The same kinds of the plants are grown and cultivated on the large scale at a place called there is a crop. Now the first step of growing the crop is the preparation of the soil. Now there is a damaged seeds would dash on the top of the water, so the damaged seed will float on the top of the water. And now the growing the crops of the crop is sufficient sunlight, water and nutrients from the soil are essential. So now coming to the match the column. Now the kharif crop we know the grown in the rainy season, so these are the paddy, maize. And the rabi crops, these are the wheat and the gram pea. And the chemical fertilizers, I told that this is a urea and other potassiums, phosphates. And now the organic manure we prepare from the animal excreta. Now coming towards the two example each for the kharif crop and rabi crop. As we see here, the kharif crop example are paddy and maize, and the rabi crop example are this wheat, gram and pea. Now write a paragraph in your own words for the following preparations of the soil. So the preparation of the soils, we see in the page number 2 that this thing you can write that for the loosening of the soils helps to the growth of the earthworm and the microbes in the soil. So these organisms are the friends of the farmer, since they further turns and loosen the soil and add humus to it. And for the second point, you can write, since there are a few centimeters over the top layer of the soils which supports the plant growth, and turning and loosening the soils bring the nutrient rich soils to the top of the plants of the nutrient. Now coming towards the second, the B part, this is sowing. So the sowings in the page, you can see in the page number 4, the sowing means the planting the seeds to the farmland with the help of the equipment such like the seed funnel, and this is like the seed drill machines. And now coming towards the third question, this is weeding. The weeding is a process. The weeding is a process of removing the weeds from our farm with the help of the chemicals called weedicides. So, and now the D part, the threshing. The threshing means the separation of the seeds from the chaff with the help of the various equipment, such like that there is a threshers, there was a harvesters, you can also take it. And now fifth questions, explain how the fertilizers are different from the manures. So you can see here that how the fertilizers are different from manure. This difference is that you can write these 4 differences as an answer of your questions. Okay, now give me now then what are the irrigation facilities? Describe the 2 method of irrigations to conserve water. This is irrigation means giving the water to the plants for their healthy growth, and the 2 methods we have discussed. There was a diagram, there was a drip irrigation systems, and there was a sprinkler irrigation system. Both are the advanced method of irrigations and they conserve water. So if the now 7th questions, if the wheat is sown in the kharif seasons, what would be happen? Generally we sow the wheat in the rabi season because it required less water, but if we grow in the rainy seasons, what it would be? As we have studied that the wheat is a rabi crop, so it is grown from the September to March, so because it requires less water. But if we grow in the kharif seasons, so we see that the large water in the rainy seasons will affect our wheat crop. So this you have to write. And now explain how the soil get affected by the continuous plantation of the field. So the most important, the most farmer continuously grow their crops in the every season, so the fertility of the soil get lost. So to retain the fertility of the soil, the farmer use the manures and the fertilizers, so to increase the production of the crops, and also to increase the humus content in the soil. And the second method is the growing leguminous plants. This is a plant, so like the grams and the other pulses, so it can replenish the fertility in the soil with the help of some of the microbes in their roots of the leguminous plants. And now the 9th questions, what are the weeds and how can we control them? So weeds are the unwanted plants that grow with the planted crops. So to remove the weeds, we use the chemicals called the weedicides. And now the 10th questions, arrange the following boxes in a proper order to make the flow chart of the sugarcane production. So first of all, there is a first process is the preparation of the soil, this first, and then second there was a sowing operation was there, and third there first this, and in the preparation of the soils we will doing the plugging, and then we will do the sowing, and then we will do manuring, and then we will do sending the irrigation facilities is there, and then we will harvest the crop, and then we will send the sugarcane to the sugar factory with the help of the tractors and other equipments which the farmer are having. So this is the chapter first.